Hey guys, I'm not singing in this video, obviously. Um, I'm a big fan of Twilight Saga, as you can see behind me, all my posters on my wall. See, there's all that, and then my calendar over there. Wrong way. Yeah, and then that thing's over there, and over there, in my room. And I'm gonna read you Twilight, the first book. And I'm gonna keep looking up every once in a while to make sure my 15 minutes is not over, so I hope you enjoy. My mother drove me down to the airport with the windows rolled down. It was 75 degrees in Phoenix. The sky was perfect, cloudless blue. I was wearing my favorite shirt, sleeveless, white eyelet lace. I was wearing it as a farewell gesture. I carry-on item was a parka. In the Olympic Peninsula of northwest Washington state, a small town named Forks exists under near constant cover of clouds. It rains on this town more than any other place in the United States of America. It, it was from this town and its gloomy under its shade that my mother escaped with me when I was only a few months old. It was in this town that I've been compelled to spend a month every summer until I was 14. That year I was finally put my feet down. These past 3 summers, my dad, Charlie, vacationed with me in California for 2 weeks instead. It was it was to Forks, and I now exclaimed myself in action that I took with great horror. I destinated Forks. I love Phoenix. I love the sun and the blistering heat. Love the vigorous, sprawling city. Bella, my mom said to me the last 1,000 times before I got on the plane, you don't have to do this. My mom looks like me, except with short. My mom looks like me, except with short hair and laugh lines. I felt a spam, of panic as I stared on her wide, childlike eyes. How could I leave my loving, erotic mother to feed herself? Of course she had Phil now, so the bills would probably get paid, and there would be food in the refrigerator, gas in her car, and someone to call when she got lost, but still. I want to go, I lied. I'd always been a bad liar, but I've been saying this lie so frequently lately that it's sounded almost convincing now. Tell Charlie I said hi. I will. See you soon. You come home whenever you want. I'll come right back as soon as you need me. But I could see the sacrifice in her eyes behind the promise. Don't worry about me, I argued. It'll be great. I love you, Mom. She hugged me tightly for a minute, and then I got on the plane and she was gone. It's a 4-hour flight from Phoenix to Seattle, another hour in a small plane up to Port Angeles, another hour drive back down to Phoenix. Flying doesn't bother me. I'll go in the car with Charlie, though. I was a little worried about that. Charlie had already been fairly nice about the whole thing. He seemed genuinely pleased that I was coming to live with him for the first time with any degree of private. He'd gotten me registered for high school, and he was going to help me get a car. It would be sure awkward with Charlie. Neither of us would know anyone calls a verbose, and I don't know what to say regardless. I knew he was more than a little confused about my decision. My mother like my mother before me, I hadn't got a secret of my distance for Forks. When I landed in Port Angeles, it was raining. I didn't see it as omen, just unavoidable. I'd already said my goodbyes to Sam. Charlie was waiting for me by the cruiser. This was exciting. Expecting too. Charlie was a police chief sworn to be good people to the good people at Fort. My primary motivation behind buying a car as desperate my security funds was that I refused to be driven in a town car with red and blue lights on top. Nothing slows down traffic like a cop. Charlie gave me an awkward one-arm hug when I stumbled off the plane. It's good to see you, Bells, he said, smiling at me. You haven't changed much. How's your niece? She's fine. It's good to see you too, Dad. I wasn't allowed to call him Charlie to his face. I only had a few bags. Most of my Arizona clothes were too permeable, permeable for Washington. My mom and I had pooled our resources to supply my winter wardrobe, but it was scanty. It fit easily into the trunk of the cruiser. I found a really good car for you. Cheap, he answered. What kind of car? I was suspicious about the way he said good car for you, as opposited to just good car. Well, it's a truck, actually, a Chevy. Where did you find it? You remember Billy Black down at La Push? La Push is a tiny Indian reservation on the coast. No, he used to go fishing with us during the summer, Charlie prompted. That explained why I didn't remember him. I do a good job blocking painful, unnecessary things from my memory. He's in a wheelchair now, Charlie continued when I didn't respond. So he can't drive him on. He offered to sell me his truck cheap. What year is it? I could see him change the expression with a question when I helped him and I didn't ask. Well, Bully's done a lot of work on the engine. It's only a few years old, really. I hoped I didn't think of so little and I believe you would give up so easily. When did he buy it? He bought it in 1984, I think. Did he buy it new? Well, no. I think it was in the early 60s or late 50s at the earliest, he admitted sheepishly. Dad, I don't really know anything about cars. I wouldn't be able to fix anything wrong, and I really can't afford a mechanic. Really, Belle, this thing runs great. They don't build it like this anymore. The thing, I thought to myself, it had possibilities, a nickname at the very least. How cheap is cheap, after all? That was the part I couldn't put a compromise on. Well, honey, I kind of already bought it for you as a homecoming gift. Charlie peeked sideways at me with a hopeful expression. Wow, free. You didn't have to do that, Dad. I was going to buy myself a car. I don't mind. I want you to be happy here. She was looking ahead at the road when he said this. Charlie wasn't comfortable at his expression of his emotions out loud. I inherited that from him, so I was looking straight at his head as I responded. That's really nice, Dad. Thanks. I really appreciate it. No need to be happy in Forks. It was an impossibility. He didn't need to suffer along with me, and I never looked at the free truck in the mouth or engine. Well, you're welcome, he murmured, embracing my thanks. We exchanged a few more comments of weather, which is wet, and pretty much of its conversation. We started out the windows in silence. It was beautiful, of course, but I didn't dwell on that. Everything was green, the trees, their trunks covered with moss, and the branches hanging from the canopy of it. The ground covered in ferns. Even the air flittered down gingerly through the leaves. It was too green, an alien planet. Eventually we made it to Charlie's. He still lived in a small two-bedroom house that he bought with my mother in the early days of marriage. These were the kind of days her marriage had, the early ones. The air parked from the street of the house had never changed my well-new-to-me truck. It was a faded red color with big runners and bulbet calves. To my intense surprise, I love it. I didn't know if it'd run, but I could see myself in it. Plus, it was one of those solid iron affairs I never imagined. This kind of things you seem to at that point unstrapped, surrounded by a piece of the forgotten car that has matured. Wow, I love it, Dad. Thanks. My new horrific day to tomorrow couldn't be less dreadful. I wouldn't face with the choice of walking 2 miles in the rain in school or accepting a ride in Chief's Cruiser. I'm glad you like it, Charlie said, roughly embarrassed again. I took one trip to get all my stuff upstairs. I got to the west bedroom that faced over the front yard. The room was familiar. It had belonged to me since I was born. The wooden floor with light blue walls, a peaked ceiling, yellow lace curtains by the window, these were all part of my childhood. The only changes Charlie had ever made, switching the crib for a bed and adding a new desk as I grew. The desk was now held a second-hand computer with the phone for modern stapled along the floor with the nearest phone jack. It was my stipulated from my mother so that we could stay in touch easily. The rocking chair from my baby days was still in the corner. There was only one small bathroom at the top of the stairs, which I would have to share with Charlie. I was trying not to dwell too much on that fact. One of the best things about Charlie is he doesn't hover. He left me alone to unpack and get settled, a feat that would be together impossible for my mother. It was nice to be alone. No one had to smile or look pleased. The relief of stared hesitantly out the window at the sheeting rain and let just a few tears escape. I was in the mood to go on a real crying jag. I would save that for bedtime when I had to think about coming in the morning. High school was frightening. Total only 307, 57, now 58 students. There were more than 700 people in my junior class back home. All of the kids had grown up together as their grandparents had toddlers together. I would be the new girl from the city, a curiosity, a freak. Maybe I look like a girl from Phoenix. I should. I could work this to my advantage, not physically. I've never fit anywhere. I should be tan, sporty, blonde, a volleyball player, a cheerleader, perhaps all the things that go along with living in the sun. Instead, I was an ivory skin without the excuse of blue eyes or red hair. Despite the constant sunshine, I've always been a slender but soft somehow, obviously not an athlete. I didn't have necessary eye coordination to play sports without humiliating myself and harming both myself and anyone who stood close. When I finished putting my clothes on the old pine dresser, I took my bag in the bathroom and went to my communal bathroom to clean myself up after a day of travel. I looked at my face in the mirror as I brushed through my tangled damp hair. Maybe if it was lit, I've already looked like I slower, unhealthy. My skin should be pretty. It was very clear, almost translucent looking that depended on the color. I had no color here. Facing all my pallid reflection in the mirror, I was forced to admit that I kept lying to myself. It wasn't just physically that I never fit in, and I couldn't find a niche at school with 3,000 people. Where are my chances here? I didn't realize I didn't relate well to people my age. Maybe the truth was I didn't relate to people, period. Even my mother, who I was closer than anyone on the planet, was never in harmony with me, never on the exactly same page. I wonder if I was seeing through the same things thought my mind were than seeing through theirs. Maybe it was a glitch in my brain, but it didn't matter. All that was the fact that tomorrow would be just the beginning. I didn't sleep well that night, even after when I was done crying. The constant whooshing of the rain of the wind across the roof didn't fade back in the background. I pulled a faded quilt over my head and later added a pillow too, but I couldn't fall asleep until after midnight when the rain finally settled into a drizzle. The fog and I went out the window in the morning. I could see the fog out my window in the morning, and I could feel the claustrophobia creeping up on me. You could never see the sky here. It was like a cage. Breakfast with Charlie was a quiet event. He wished me good luck for school. I thanked him, knowing this hope was wasted. Good luck tended to avoid me. Charlie left first, off to the police station with his wife and family. That was his wife and